Welcome, everyone. I'm John Ryan. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show with me. I hope you find this show interesting, intriguing, thought-provoking, and most of all, providing some good, solid betting intelligence to make some extra cash this fall and winter. I want to talk about the ACC. I have an article over at RotoWire that you can get, and just go over to RotoWire and hit the college football links, and it is the featured article, the SEC. And I will be having an ACC article coming out very soon. It might even be later today. Not sure on the editor's schedule, but it is in their hands. And we still have time to talk about the ACC and the other conferences, along with the Big Ten. That's already published, and the SEC. So the Florida State team, is that the team to beat in the ACC, you think? I'm starting to think so. And the studies that I've done, both with looking at video of these transfers that they picked up, one of which is a 4-star recruit. They lost 22 players, but they picked up 11. And the 11 they picked up were excellent pickups. Most of them 4- and 3-star recruits. Their wide receiver stable now is one of the best in the nation potentially. And I do think, even though they're not flying under the radar, there is some tremendous value in betting the Florida State Seminoles, especially in week 1 when they go up against LSU, who's ranked number 5. FSU is ranked number 8, both top 10 teams. We'll get to some of the angles there in a little bit. But what's up with this Michigan Wolverines program inflicting a 3-game suspension on Jim Harbaugh when the 3 games that they're playing, I mean, with all due respect to East Carolina and the UNLV Rebels and the Bowling Green Falcons, with all due respect to those programs, and I don't mean to put down any program ever, but when you're ranked number 2 in the nation, what kind of penalty is it for a team of that stature to lose their head coach and only their head coach for those 3 games when they had recruiting violations? I don't know. I don't have anything against Michigan or Michigan fans. I really don't. I would like to see Penn State beat them this year, just saying. But seriously, is this really a penalty? I mean, even the 4th game, if they do a 4-game suspension, would be against Rutgers, for goodness sake. And all due respect to Rutgers. They're not a top 25 team, and none of these are. They're not meant to be programs for top 25 teams with the names of the schools that they are. So I find it almost appalling that is going on, and that they think that that's a justified amount of time. At the end of the day, I think you and I could go to Michigan and coach those teams in the first 3 games, and we probably wouldn't even have to say anything to the players. The quarterback could run the offense, and the middle linebacker could run the defense, and I think we'd come away pretty darn good with nobody, assistant coaches up in the press boxes. I think they'd find a way to win, and they might even have fun playing with no coaches in their faces all the time. Anyway, I don't think that's much of a penalty, especially when you give the fact that Florida State is going to play 2 top 10 ranked teams in the first 4 weeks. Michigan's not even going to get out of their preseason until then. It just doesn't seem right to me. Florida State's laying it all on the line, and I commend them for doing it. So is LSU, because they're only a 2.5-point favorite here in week 1. This game's the Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida, so it's going to lean a little bit towards Florida State, I suspect, but it's not a far drive from Baton Rouge to Orlando, and it's a quick flight. So it could be pretty much even in terms of the fan bases in the stands. The winner takes an impressive move forward in the college football playoff, but the loser's not going to get damaged here this early in the season. And if it's a 1 or 2 or 3-point game, they're not going to lose anything. It's almost like half a win when you compare it to a loss in the final weeks of the regular season, how the College Football Playoff Committee evaluates those losses. So Florida State, let's talk a little bit about them. They're led by 4th-year head coach Mike Norvell. He's 18-16 straight up, 17-14 against the spread. Now, expectations are high entering this season, and warranted so. They have 8 returning starters on offense, including a very good and talented quarterback in Jordan Travis, 10 starters returning on defense. So this is 18 starters of possibly 22 returning. Generally, any team with 17 or more starters returning, including their signal caller, has a tremendous advantage over teams that have 12 or fewer returning starters and are taking on a new quarterback under center, or maybe a new offensive coordinator with a whole new scheme. There's a lot of new coaches in college football this year too. Let's see. The talent that Florida State got was, I mentioned they got 8 4-star recruits, 2 3-star players. They gained 11 while losing 22. And, the loss is minimal. Those players that left knew they could see the writing on the wall that they weren't going to get playing time that they wanted or thought they deserved. And they took the advantage of the portal, which is what it's meant to be, and got onto another team where they will have a potentially better opportunity to get some plays in. So you might be interested that in games played in the first 4 weeks of the regular season between 2 top 10 ranked opponents, the favorite is 30-10 straight up, 75%, 19-20-1 against the spread for 49%, and 15-11 under for 42%. That's actually 57%. If the total is 58 points or lower in these matchups, the favorite has gone 16-5 straight up. That bodes pretty well for LSU here. 76%, 12-9 against the spread, 57% against the number. Not all that great there, but 14-7 to the under. And I can definitely see these two heavyweights throwing the defense around and throwing a lot of big licks in this matchup. I don't think this is going to be a timid game whatsoever. Non-conference matchups of top 10 foes that occur in the first 4 weeks of the regular season, the favorite is 21-8 straight up, 75% winners. So if you like LSU, it almost seems like an early bet here would be, pre-flop and take LSU in the money line. 15-14 against the spread, 52%. 12-8 under, 60%, with 9 games not having a total. LSU is ranked better than FSU for this matchup, and the better ranked team that are the favorites have done better. So it's a really tough matchup. And when I say done better, it's not enough for me to take my wallet out and put some money down at the window and bet LSU just yet. But I do think a lean on this under being where it is at 56.5 points is a warranted good, solid betting opportunity. And then in game, you're going to look for a strong opening by both teams and try to get as high into the low 60s as possible to add a little bit more. So 8 units on would be a bet of normal size for me, and 8 units I would split with 4 units pre-flop, and then look 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit at levels above 62.5, 63.5, 64.5, 65.5 during the first half of action only. Okay, that is the bet for that game. The Seminoles returned 18 starters last year. They were the best offensive and defensive unit in the entire ACC conference. I mean, that sums it up. They started 22 freshmen last year, for goodness sake. That ranked third most in the entire nation of Division I football. And, their big game is going to be in Death Valley against Clemson, and that occurs in week 4. That's the second of the 2 top 10 ranked teams, with Clemson being ranked, I believe they are ranked 7th or 9th in the AP poll, somewhere around there. But Florida State's going to benefit from this, having the seasoning of a big-time game under the lights, national TV, in Orlando. So it's a huge advantage that normally pays dividends for teams like this. So I would not be surprised. The scenario is that Florida State loses a close game in the fourth quarter and then prepares week 3, and then week 4 goes into Death Valley Memorial Stadium and wins outright against Clemson. That is a definite scenario because Clemson doesn't play anybody the first couple of weeks. They start out with Duke as a 12.5-point favorite. Then they play Charleston Southern and Florida Atlantic at home before hosting the Seminoles in week 4. So that's not much of a lineup there other than the Duke game, but it's not LSU. Duke is certainly not LSU, and that game is not going to be nationally televised on Sunday night. So that is my take for the Seminoles. I do like them to win the ACC, but there's another one that's actually better here. As I scroll through my massive amount of notes. North Carolina is the team that could be the dark horse, and Mac is coming back. Mac Brown, that is, for his second term as the head coach of the Tar Heels. He has 18 returning starters as well, with 9 on offense and defense, including quarterback Drake May, who completed an amazing 66% of his passes, 517 pass attempts, folks, for 4,321 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Mac Brown has had so many heartbreaking losses. In fact, he's had 8 what I call single score losses. That means they were leading in the fourth and lost, or they couldn't score, but they were only trailing by less than six or less points. And it's really been tough to watch. But maybe this is the year that kind of trend turns around and he starts winning these fourth quarter, very close-knit games, close-fought, contested games. And if you look at their schedule, they, number one, don't have to play the Seminoles. They don't have to play the Louisville Cardinal, which is going to be pretty good this year, too. That would be another dark horse I would consider. But because North Carolina doesn't have to play either one of them, and they only have the Tigers here in Week 12, North Carolina could be 6-0, folks, in conference record when they go down to the showdown with the Tigers. So to recap my ACC best bets that I am going to make, I outlined the in-game strategy for the LSU-FSU game already. I'm going to bet the Tar Heels at plus 300 to make the ACC championship game. That's not winning it, that's making it. I'm going to bet the Tar Heels to win more than 8 games, plus 100. I think they win more. I think they're capable of winning 10 or more. The bottom part of the ACC is pretty weak. And for that reason is why I like the Cavaliers, who are picked to come in dead last, to win more than 3, just at even money, minus 110. And the Clemson Tigers, I think, is a good bet, under 10 wins. Of course, we have to push on both of those bets, all 3 of them, actually. But under 10 wins, I could see the Tigers going to 9 wins, which would be dreadful for Dabo Swinney. And they might be, calling for his resignation. I hope not, because he's been a legend there, and I always hate to see a coach, whether you like him or not, leave under a bad year after having such a really good career. So that is my take in the ACC. Now, let's move over to the NFL, shall we? The NFL, I wanted to look at this situation here between the Bills and the Patriots. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that, not on this graphic, is the fact that Super Bowl losers from the previous year have a hangover. We saw it last year with Cincinnati. And goodness knows the Atlanta Falcons have been hangover prone now for many seasons. And, I think it is a warranted bet in Week 1 to take the Patriots against the Eagles. They'll be at home. The stadium will be crazy. And Super Bowl losers that are on the road are 2-10 against the number. So a little sprinkle on the money line might be a good idea, too. But again, the in-game strategy, I'll have another video in the next couple of weeks here before that game takes place to detail the strategy on that game with the Eagles. But this one also adds up to where I start thinking that, wow, the Patriots actually could win this division. And I know you're probably thinking, like, what does this guy know? He has 28 years of experience. It doesn't even know that the Patriots have no chance. Well, they do. And I looked at the schedules and the player personnel now, and it seems like things are coming together in Foxborough. So I don't know what else to say about that other than betting on home dogs of less than 4.5 points. And the dog has lost 3 consecutive times to a divisional foe, which they have to the Bills. And the dog has won 5 to 8 games in the previous season, which the Patriots were 8-9, if you remember. The total is 45.5 or less, which nowadays in the modern era of football is a bit, that indicates a defensive style of game, which fits into Belichick, how he has run that franchise for the entire time that he's been there. So we're 19-36 straight up. That doesn't sound very good at all. It certainly doesn't sound like we should be sprinkling the money line pre-flop. But 24-27-5 against the spread, that's not all that good either. But look at the under. 34-21-1. I'm sorry, to the over. No, that actually is a misprint. That is supposed to say under. 34-21-1 to the under. I apologize for my mistake. 62%. And that totally makes sense to me because of what I just said. A defensive-oriented Patriots team going, playing at home in front of the fans against the Buffalo Bills, who they've lost to 3 consecutive times. That is going to be a wild stadium when that game takes place. So that is a situation that you want to circle on the calendar. And, of course, I'm going to have more of these type of quick-hitting shows to update the situations with these games before we actually make them official premium best bets that I give out to my clients. Now, not all the bets on these shows are going to be premium, of course, but I encourage you to get a subscription. If you want the details of that, just simply send me a direct message and we'll get you on board. Simple as that. I want to try to lower the price so that everybody has the ability to afford it and get on board, so I can teach what I've learned for 28 years and pass it along, and you can do with it what you want, and hopefully it will make you a very astute sports bettor. Now, Major League Baseball for Tuesday night action, we're going to bet on road underdogs. Our dog is batting .250 or better for the season. Our dog is batting .240, however, over the last 10 games, so a little bit of struggles there. And the National League foe that they are facing, in this case it's the San Diego Padres, has an ERA of 3.70 or lower on the season. That set of 4 simple parameters that are involved in every single game has gone 38 and 43 for 47%. However, by averaging a 159 money line wager, has produced a 20% ROI over the past 5 seasons. And if this game occurs after the All-Star break, goodness gracious, look at this. 28 and 27, 51%. You know, if you tell your friends you went 28 and 27, okay, well, that doesn't scare anybody. That's, you know, I could do that with my eyes closed. Well, no, you can't, because it's a 164 money line wager that you have been averaging on those 55 picks, and that has produced a 32% return on investment spanning the last 5 seasons of action. Now, that is really, really good stuff, and that is one of the better betting systems that has consistently won and has not had one losing season in the last 10. So if you write any of these down or follow any of these and you track it, this is one I certainly encourage you to track for many seasons to come. And last but not least, what do I have here? We have a little special here offering $99 for the rest of Major League Baseball. It's only about 37 games, but you're going to get a ton of plays. And as you can see from the scrolling at the bottom, once I get rid of this slide, that we're doing really, really well this year in Major League Baseball and WNBA and CFL. 63% against the spread the last 5 NFL preseasons. 65% against the spread the last 5 seasons, NFL, college football combined. So I feel very confident going into this. I should feel confident, but there's no guarantee we're going to make any money this year in college football and the NFL. But it stands to reason that after 20 plus years where when I did have a losing season, I didn't have a losing season in both college football and NFL, that we're gonna scrape out some profits here and hopefully a lot of big profits for you this upcoming football season. Most of all, we have increased subscribers by close to 500%, folks, over the last barely a month. And it's not even a month, actually. So I appreciate everybody that has subscribed. If you haven't, subscribe and please hit the bell. And that bell will notify you of any live shows that we're doing on the fly. And, of course, they're archived, so you don't have to worry about actually seeing it live. But it is fun to be in a chat room during a live show. You can ask questions. You can have me look at a specific game, and we'll break it down for you with the guests that I have on the shows. And we'll have a lot of fun, if nothing else. I guarantee you that. So I think that'll just about do it for today. So thanks for watching. This is a little bit longer show than normal, but less than 20 minutes so far. But I really appreciate it. And we have 6 best bets going tonight. So it's 3 Major League Baseball best bets, 3 WNBA best bets for 6 total, and it's $45. And if it doesn't make you a net profit, you'll get tomorrow, being Wednesday, absolutely free, all access. And of course, that includes any NFLX plays that I release. It includes everything, player props, the works. So again, thanks for watching. Until tomorrow for the next show, the Predictive Playbook Sports Betting Show. Remember to bet with your heads, always, and not over it. And may all the wins be yours.